on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus, Guam's automotive leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, leaders in the island's only public hospital taking the hot seat before senators. Nestor Lecanto with a report on Guam Memorial Hospital's oversight hearing. Plus, former CNMI Governor Ralph Torres has another day in the Superior Court on Saipan. Regional correspondent Mas Manglotnia with the latest. And the first 2-month security task force was set up in response to the deadly robbery on a tourist. Our Jonah Gancharfris with a look at the training. Half a day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Thank you so much for starting your week here with us.
Well, the future site for a new hospital is still very much in doubt. While senators passed a bill Friday to restrict it to Ipoh Point, the governor has vowed to veto it.
But today the focus shifted to the current Guam Memorial Hospital, especially the finances needed to sustain the rapidly deteriorating facility. Nestor Lecanto reports.
Appropriations Chairman Joe San Augustine called in top GMH officials for an oversight hearing on the hospital's finances. Early on in his exchange with GMH Chief Financial Officer Yuka Hechinova, it became clear that federal Medicare underfunding remains a big drag.
I'm trying to understand, is the federal government telling you will charge less and you take a loss? Is that what you're telling us? Is that what's happening nationwide? Because if that's the case, then we need to be in a position to find a way to help offset your losses, because then you're never going to get out of the hole.
So Medicare, right now we're based on FY 2014 costs, and that is the cost that they will give to us, but nothing more than that. So our costs compared to FY 2014 are almost double.
They agree that the solution is to rebase the Medicare repayment rates, which GMH managed to do 10 years ago. Until then,
you're never going to get out of the hole, no matter what you do. And it doesn't make sense, at least in areas that they can do something to prevent you from getting too deep. That's what I'm concerned about.
GMH is currently tracking for another big loss this fiscal year. Revenue is forecast at $132 million, with expenses at $192 million. And even with a $30 million general fund subsidy, by September 30, they still expect to be about $32 million in the hole. Nestor Lecanto, KUAM News.
GMH officials also providing an update on capital improvement projects, including progress on the main air conditioning system repair.
The hospital has drawn heavy criticism because of mold buildup throughout the facility, and there's an ongoing ceiling tile removal project in those areas. Criminal charges could be dismissed against 3 of the men accused in a deadly stabbing in Dededo. Co-defendants Allison Joe, Cyrus Matthias, Diro Itzi, Elson Joe, and Samson Shapasi appeared before Judge Vernon Perez in Superior Court today. The 5 men stand accused in the 2022 deadly stabbing of 24-year-old Kierfritson Aiken.
Prosecuting attorney Sean Brown telling the court today that they are looking at possibly dismissing the charges with prejudice against Matthias, Allison Joe, and Elson Joe. The plea offer was also given to defendant Itzi. This means defendant Shapasi would be left to stand trial. The men are expected to appear back in court this Friday until the plea offers and dismissal requests are made final. Judge Perez told the parties he plans to move forward with trial set for March 6. One man under arrest, another on the run tonight after being accused of raping and abusing a young girl known to them. 34-year-old Cassie Andon is charged with first and second degree criminal sexual conduct. Court documents state Andon allegedly started to molest the child when she was only 9 years old.
The latest incident happened about a year ago when Andon and another unnamed suspect allegedly raped the child. Prosecutors note the second suspect has not yet been located.
Loved ones will say their final goodbyes to 53-year-old Sumitra Lairopi Tuesday. Services for the Dededo mother will take place at Our Lady of Peace Memorial Gardens in Zotnia. As KUAM reported, Lairopi was having dinner on Valentine's Day at the Thai Healthy Cuisine restaurant in Timuning before she was robbed at gunpoint and shot. She died 2 days later in the hospital.
Since her death, loved ones reached out to the community for help and the family to cover the cost for Lairopi's funeral expenses. To date, donors gave nearly $10,000. Investigators say the robbery was drug-related. Domingo Mendiola is being held on a $500,000 cash bail in connection to her murder. Kenneth Tenorio, formerly of Malasu and now residing in California, was sentenced to over 8 years in federal prison for trafficking teenagers. The
U.S. Attorney's Office saying Tenorio posted online sex ads featuring victims and collected money that victims made through engaging in commercial sex acts. Jonah Gancharfis has more.
Former Guam resident 54-year-old Kenneth Tenorio, now residing in National City, California, was recently sentenced to 106 months in federal court for transporting 2 female teens from San Diego to Phoenix, Arizona and El Paso, Texas for the purpose of prostitution. According to court records, Tenorio's conduct spanned multiple states and involved multiple victims, including juveniles. Documents state that Tenorio exploited women and minors who had been removed from their homes and placed in the foster care system as part of his overall scheme to profit from their commercial sex work. Tenorio, who was once a mixed martial arts fighter, pled guilty on August 8th of last year, admitting that he transported the 2 teens for the purpose of offering them for commercial sex for his own financial gain. In a media release, it notes how Tenorio used his Mega Personals account, a dating website that is frequently used to solicit prostitution, to post commercial sex advertisements featuring the 2 victims wearing lingerie. Tenorio expected his victims to provide him with a portion of the proceeds they earned from engaging in commercial sex acts. According to his plea agreement, in 2020, he detailed trafficking a 15-year-old female by sending text messages to her for the purpose of recruiting and enticing her to engage in prostitution. U.S. District Court Judge Kathy Benzavengo criticized Tenorio for his treatment of victims, saying, quote, "You just took advantage of their vulnerabilities to put money in your pocket." The investigation to bring Tenorio to justice was led by Homeland Security Investigations, the Chula Vista Police Department, and the San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force, as well as the San Diego District Attorney's Office. Jonah Gancharfis, KM News.
Former CNMI Governor Ralph Torres has another day in the Superior Court on Saipan.
Regional correspondent Tomas Manglona reports on the ongoing legal battle related to the charges of contempt and misconduct in public office.
Former NMI Governor Ralph Torres appeared in local court on Saipan Monday morning. In this case, Torres faces 1 count of contempt and 1 count of misconduct in public office for failing to appear in compliance with the legislative subpoena while he was governor in 2021. Torres' attorney is challenging the penal summons issued, saying it is defective and violates Torres' constitutional rights. The former governor's attorney says the penal summons was issued without a probable cause determination, which he contends is a due process violation. The attorney argued that the penal summons should be approved by a judge and not by a clerk as it was in this case. They argued that having to appear before the court without that determination is an infringement on the former governor's liberties. Mr. Torres, do you want to provide comment on the case?
Not at this point. Okay. I would appreciate it.
Right,
Thank you.
Assistant Attorney General and Special Prosecutor James Kingman said he's ready for a probable cause hearing if the court wants one. When asked for comment on the defense's proposed remedy for a judge to sign a penal summons for probable cause determination, Kingman said, "That is not the requirement in the law, nor has it ever been the practice, just as it was not a requirement for a pro hac vice to take the same oath as other attorneys. Pointing to an absence of a requirement is not a compelling argument for its existence," he said. If they can continue to argue things like this with impunity, there is no limit to the arguments they can make to delay the trial. The judge is expected to decide the matter in the coming days. Tomas Manglona, KUAM News, Saipan.
After the tragic shooting death of a South Korean tourist on January the 4th, the Guam Visitors Bureau called the first Tumon Security Task Force meeting. The task force comprised of public safety officials discussing strategies on safety and security, destination and service culture improvements.
Last Friday, as part of the initiative to improve safety on the island, a handful of visitor security officers completed a week-long defense tactics training. Jonah Gancharfis files this report.
In line with the Korean consulate's promise of making the island safe to the family of a South Korean tourist who was shot and killed in Tumon in early January, controlled concepts, handcuffing, counter-striking, restraint systems, weapons and equipment training are just some of the things a group of visitor security officers and Department of Military Affairs security officers learned during a week-long defense tactics training, G4S VSO Operations Director Paul Suba.
We need to pull our resources together, and the people that are doing the job at the forefront need this training. So with Godspeed, God's blessing and protection, and this training, you're more equipped.
It was after the Tumon incident that Guam Visitors Bureau President and CEO Carl Gutierrez called for a task force meeting comprised of representatives from public safety agencies in hopes of achieving goals of crime prevention and safety of island residents and tourists. On Friday, a ceremony was held acknowledging completion of training by instructor and Park Police Superintendent Joey Terlahi.
This is the initiative of course, Governor Leon Guerrero, former Governor Carl Gutierrez. Governor Gutierrez had implemented or created a task force a couple of weeks ago, and he's identified a lot of initiative security measures. And we all have the same goal. We all share that common goal, and that's the safety and security of our people, not necessarily only in Tumon, but also the whole island. What do you expect from me? They wanted to learn new skills. And I went down the other. No fighting. And they said knowledge and safety. So I just want to ask the class, did I meet your expectations? Yes? 100%.
To close out the ceremony, the officers provided a glimpse of what they learned from handcuffing and baton skills. Officers were then exposed to pepper spray so that they understand what the person feels and how they may react. Terlahi taking part in the demonstration alongside them. Training will continue to be offered for all VSOs. Parks and Recreation Director Angel Sablan.
We just want the community to know that there's more of them than there are of us, but we're going to be out there watching them and making sure that our community is safe, one way or the other. We keep them safe.
Jonagan Charfris, KUAM News.
Oh my gosh, my eyes!
I know, I'm blinking just from watching that story.
I know. Good job, Joni.
Time for a quick break, but a quick note from the governor's office late today. Acting Governor Josh Tenorio signing Bill 208 into law. The measure appropriates $15.8 million from fiscal year 2024 general fund revenues for the Energy Credit Program.
This extension of the Energy Credit Program means a $100 credit will be applied to your power bills for January, February, and March of this year. Keep it here. You're watching KUAM, your leader in local news.
Troy Polamalu Safety, a.k.a. the Quiet Storm. Troy's seen more out of the corners of his cold steel eyes than most mortal men have seen straight on. The last thing an offense would witness, a fury of flowing mane incoming at high speed.
Hey!
Cat-like quickness and supernatural instincts like Troy's only come once in a lifetime. And oh, how grateful we are that they came in ours. No one made the beloved burg of Pittsburgh feel quite as safe as this safety. The Hyundai Tucson with advanced safety and tech, because even safeties could use a little more safety themselves.
In the heart of time, friendships have blossomed and connections have grown. From the letters we wrote to the calls we made, we've laid the lines to weave our stories together. From the distant past to a brighter future, we are forging paths, bringing tomorrow's islands today.
Welcome back to Primetime. The Guam Education Board gearing up for its special board meeting to go over its budget for the upcoming fiscal year.
The talk is major as the Education Department works to balance out its wants and needs. The Guam Education Board is slated to look over and approve the Guam Department of Education's fiscal year 2025 budget, one that has been due to the legislature since the end of January. GEB Vice Chair Angel Sablan telling KUAM the board has returned GDOE's proposed multi-million-dollar budget request more than once.
GDOE is the biggest budget item in the whole government of Guam, and we've already gotten it back three times because of our concerns of what's in that budget.
Sablan says the GEB did not find that initial budget request justifiable, with even the current ask of $300 million hard to reconcile.
We know that there's charter schools opening up. We know that there will be the consent of our parents, and even our stakeholders in the school system will be shutting down some schools. And if that happens, how can we justify keep increasing our budget?
Sablan believes GDOE can cut costs in staffing at GDOE's central office.
We need to get focused and go back out to the schools. We need the school aides. We need people that are going to assist in making the food. We need people that are going to be able to act as school resources officers and counseling and things like that, nurses. That's where the emphasis should be, not in somebody sitting right behind a desk just to push paper.
Meantime, Sablan asking how GDOE could go before the legislature to ask for millions more in funding, with millions still unspent.
We have millions that have not been touched, and the schools are crying. You know, our maintenance people are crying. The security is lacking.
It's a conversation to be continued during Tuesday's Education Board meeting.
H.R. 6478, the Typhoon Mawar Reconstruction Act, was among the items discussed during a recent meeting between Guam Delegate Jim Moylan and FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell. The two meeting in the nation's capital last Friday, the act would provide the FEMA Administrator with various authorities, including directing any federal agency to provide the resources to provide long-term repair and or replacement assistance for power restoration and transmission, water and communication infrastructure, and hospital facilities, which were adversely affected by Typhoon Mawar.
The legislation further removes any cost sharing by the local government. The congressman stating, quote, the FEMA administrator has directed her congressional team to work with our office to help navigate the measure through the various committees and staff. Moylan also brought up the consideration of seeking FEMA's assistance with providing temporary classrooms for the students and facility of Simon Sanchez High School. Governor Lulian Guerrero and First Gentleman Jeff Cook were guests of the White House during a dinner to close out the National Governors Conference winter meeting. They even posed for selfies with President Joe Biden. CNMI Governor Arnold Palacios also attended the event last week for a series of high-level meetings, with much of the discussion focused on infrastructure funding.
I wonder if they had Kelly Gwynn on the menu there.
Ooh, I hope so. Well, she heads home today. Well, Nikki Haley says she will remain in the race for the GOP nomination at least through Super Tuesday, even after losing in her home state to former President Donald Trump.
As CBS's Christian Benavidez reports, Mr. Trump's victory in South Carolina being overshadowed by comments he made at a rally for black conservatives.
It's great to be here. A defiant Nikki Haley in Michigan tonight, vowing to remain in the GOP primary race even after defeat in her home state of South Carolina.
70% of Americans have said they don't want Donald Trump or Joe Biden in this next election.
Wow, that is really something. This was a little sooner than we anticipated.
Former President Donald Trump gave his victory speech after being declared the projected winner just minutes after the polls closed Saturday. Ultimately, Haley came in about 20 points behind Trump. Yet that overwhelming victory is being overshadowed by racially charged comments Mr. Trump made at a gathering for black conservatives this week.
The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population.
Nearly every day, Trump drives people away.
Mr. Trump's allies have come to his defense.
This is something similar that black people had to deal with the justice system themselves. And so their look of it is real simple. Well, dang, if the government's going after him with foolishness, he can't be that bad.
Haley says it's comments such as those that will hurt Trump in the general election.
I know 40% is not 50%. But I also know 40% is not some tiny group.
The next primary contest will be on Tuesday in Michigan, followed by Super Tuesday a week later. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
The leaders from the military, government, clergy, and humanitarian communities from Guam, the United States, and Japan took part in the 13th Peace Memorial Ceremony in Jigo at the South Pacific Memorial Park. This was the first time the solemn event was held in 5 years due to the pandemic.
The overall message was one of peace throughout the world, forgiving the transgressions of the past, building on positive relationships between our countries, and looking towards continued harmony for the future.
Understand the significance of the events in the past, but at the same time move forward with a new sense of direction.
And as we think and reflect on how things have changed, we also recognize the very close, unique, and special friendship and alliance that has formed between the United States and Japan. And this strong relationship, this strong friendship, has benefited the people of Guam so tremendously.
The whole goal is to pray for peace around the world. Never forget, but know how not to repeat. And forgiveness is very much a part of peace.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured during sunset at Rick's Reef in Tamuning.
This view plus more Chamorro music streaming on Isla Digital Radio.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
afraid, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa. You can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Try new McDonald's sauce now.
Now?
Huh? The race to McDonald's is on!
I will win!
Welcome! I guess we both win.
Try new savory chili McDonald's sauce, only at McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, go!
The Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce is having a meeting. It happens on Thursday, the 29th. It is going to be in Agana Heights at Government House. The topic is the power of mentoring. Please make sure to check it out. If you are ready to hit the dance floor, we have news you need to know. That's why we call it News Bites. 10 presents House Party on March 2nd at Club Zoo in Tumon. Doors open at 9 p.m. Make sure to check it out. 10presents.eventbrite.com will get you in. And students and early career hopefuls. If you want to be a career professional looking to grow your workforce and your LinkedIn profile in conservation and research, check out the Career Fair 2024 on February 27th at Crown Plaza. That is what's happening today on News Bites. Two of them together, News Bites.
It's birthday wishes time.
Here's your Coltsian Creamery Birthday Club shoutout submitted on KUAM.com.
Happy birthday on this Monday to Joey John Cabrera, who celebrates birthday number 27, and to our boy, your familia. Cabrera, Manabusan, and Ogo families are wishing you the very best. Happy birthday number 5 to Kiani Joy Cabrera Hernandez, and to our Mungi princess, we love and miss you. Love, Oompa Gilama, and Uncle Nino, Uncle Bones, and the family. And a belated birthday wish going out to Casey Arceo Idolor and Davina Arceo Alvarez. Happy fabulous birthdays to our amazing daughters, twins by birth, besties by choice. That is nice. And they say, and the beat goes on. I survived my heart surgery because of you, my babies. God gave me a second chance. May God continue to bless and protect you both from Mama and the entire family. And Leanne Martinez Schaefer, also happy belated birthday wish to you. God's love, strength, and peace to you on this special day. One thing I can attest to is your mom and dad are very, very proud of their ever so loving young daughter. Happy birthday to you.
And that's your Primetime Show. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Have a great evening and stay beautiful.
Over at Ukudu High, the Bulldogs are bringing it. When it comes to badminton, the Dedido School has always had serious game.
This has been going on for 12 years now. Some of these guys have been playing since freshman year, and then some of them have been playing just for the quarter. I do a tournament in class. We teach them all the skills, all the rules, and then they play a tournament in class. And the winners, top 3 of the class winners, come over here for the other classes.
From the outside looking in, it could be a casual sport. But ask anyone that's been in the heat of a rally, success here is equal parts physical and mental.
I think the cardio aspect of it and the nimbleness, but I think it's mostly about the mind, you know, where to place that shot is, I think, good, unique to badminton.
The birdie moves distinctly differently than in tennis, ping pong, or pickleball, and rallies are intense.
One thing about badminton is it's pretty easy to pick up. Once you keep practicing the skills, you can see how they are. Some of these guys couldn't hit the birdie before, you know, doing the skills, they couldn't jogo the birdie, but now they're playing at faster speed. And I think once they see this level, you know, it just makes them better.
This year's tournament also honored the late James Lujan, an Ukudu PE teacher who was an early board member of the Guam National Badminton Federation, making the game accessible to everyone.
He helped start it here. He helped me line the field, the court. You know, we took a couple of weeks lining the courts, make sure that the badminton courts are good. He had equipment that he donated, that he left, like some of the nets from him. So they'll always remember him. You know, we'll always see him.
Sport, as you know, James Lujan was a football player, so you know, a big, rough guy, right? And yet he also had a heart for badminton, which I think what shows is there is a sport for every person in this world.
And there's also a unique rush that badminton provides, even before a match starts.
Is opening a tube of a brand new pack of shuttlecocks as oddly satisfying as it is for tennis players to like crack open like a canister of balls?
There's no pressure, so there's not that.
So not as much. Well, I mean, it's still fun.
Yeah, it is, because it's brand new and all the feathers are like nice and crisp.
There's also a path towards a higher level of play, as the fun game kids engage in could now lead them to sport's grandest stage.
To make sure that, yes, we're on the right track and how we can get into the school systems.
And even hoping that they could go join the national program.
Guam's participating in 10 athletic events during the 10th Micronesian Games. And while there's exciting competition for sports with mats, courses, tracks, and courts, there's a ton of action beneath the waves too in spearfishing.
Yeah, game plan, we think it out. Some of us can't sleep at night before the following morning because we're so indecisive of where we're going to go, especially if it's a really big zone. But I think by the time we get on the water, we just focus and do what we need to do.
Now, spearfishing is uniquely suited for our part of the world, and it's intensely competitive.
I'd say 90% skill and then 10% luck, because the more you do it, the more you learn, the easier it gets. You'll notice this is one of the sports where the athletes are a little long in the tooth, because it is all that knowledge that we've seen, and it's just the more time in the water, that's how you get better at this sport.
While in other sports, we might be able to eyeball 1 or 2 islands who may give us a run, our fishing crew says everyone in the micro games is capable of medaling.
They're all looking pretty good. The last competition in Yap, there was some really hard competition. The hardest part is not being our territory, so just it's a huge advantage to Team Marshall Island team, because they're going to be able to know where the spots are at, know how the fish act. So we're really going to have to play catch up to those guys.
Yeah, everybody there was, I mean, they're probably the best from their island. So yeah, if you look at the catch, it's everybody had a nice catch. There wasn't any team that didn't have a nice catch. Everybody had a nice catch. So you kind of look at the catch and you're like, oh, kind of trying to eyeball the weight and how many pieces and stuff. But yeah, everybody's pretty good.
Competition is really getting close, so we're gonna have to make sure we do some training.
Even deeper than the waters you fish is each team's strategy. You can't medal on sheer athleticism alone. You need to do your homework, know the spots, rely on your instincts, and react to whatever Mother Nature throws at you that day.
Figure out who has what strengths. Some of us are really good at deep diving. Some are really good in the reef, or you're just a well-rounded diver. So I like to put guys that are comfortable where they want to be for that day. We also worry about sharks, right, and the shark activity, because you're spearing fish, and of course sharks are in the area. Especially if there's a lot of fish, there's going to be a lot of sharks.
Historically, Guam has finished with either gold or silver every games for nearly 30 years. But this year's competitive field is tough, with experienced swimmers, divers, and fishermen who know how to bring in the catch.
Always safety first. Going in with a good game plan.
Once we learn the fish, the habitat, that really gives us a little bit more advantage than just jumping in blind. Learning behaviors of the fish, types of coral, all these things come into play. If we need to go deep, we need to go shallow, or in the channels. So a lot of stuff to learn.
Still, we've got years of experience and teamwork on our side, along with the pride of returning to our place on the medal podium when it's all said and done.
It takes time. So I've been fishing for well over 4 years now. So it's like I'll sit back and I'll be the wise guy and just like, okay, I know when to go and where to go, rather than I'm going to swim for 5 hours and figure out where the fish are. It's just timing, and that comes with time in the water and just continuously doing it. And every year you learn something new or you figure something out. I just enjoy doing it. It's always an honor to represent Guam, and we're having fun and enjoying what we do.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
The thing that every athlete works for is a shot. Getting separation, a clean look, or more metaphorically, an opportunity to prove you belong. And that is what the Guam men's national basketball team has later this month at the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers. So to step up to the challenge, we're using our experience, coaches, and veterans.
We have a pair of games coming up against Japan and Mongolia, and it's our first round of the FIBA qualifiers for this coming Asia Cup. And the game against Japan is probably going to be the biggest game we've ever played in our island's history.
Our squad for this trip is, to put it lightly, stacked. Coach E.J. Calvo has assembled a team of weapons, and we're going to need each and every one of them at every position in all aspects of the game. Starters, sixth man, second unit, and all the way down the bench. One of those vets is shooting guard Joe Blas, who's always been about the team.
It means a lot to me. I'm very excited. I'm trying my hardest not to take anything for granted. You know, I'm trying to take this window of this year and just play these games as hard as I can and help Team Guam win. And, you know, that's what I've always been about, man. It's just always been about helping Guam win and putting us on the map.
We've got vets that know how to win and fresh legs that fly down the court and lock down on defense. Calvo's managing battle-tested national team players and guys with professional experience to set us up for success.
We just knew we wanted to not only get back to the top of the Pacific region, but play against bigger countries and see how far we can go. And to tell us we're going to be playing Japan, China, Mongolia in the next 12 months is just a dream. What we do with this opportunity really depends on you know, how we prepare, what we do on the court. So I think either way, this is just a new milestone for Guam basketball.
Even for chisel ballers that play professionally, it's a unique chance to test your skills against some of the best in the world, and to prove that Guam deserves to be in that conversation.
Right now, we're just trying to refine playbook. Right now, getting ready for a tournament, right? So of course, when we're in practice, we kind of want to see it to be, we want it to be messy, right? We want to figure out like helping players understand what their roles are.
The young guys always tell them, man, first of all, take care of your bodies. That's number one. I always say, take care of your bodies and approach the game the right way. Come out, play hard, and always bring it, man. Bring energy, positive energy. You know what I mean?
Shifting his role on the team is local fan favorite Michele Wesley, moving from center to assistant coach. His international experience, wisdom, and stability from the former BYU star is invaluable. Calvo's counting on him and the rest of the coaching staff to continue our strong brand of leadership.
I mean, when I first started coaching the men's national team, Michele was one of the first guys I reached out to as just a guy I grew up with in Guam that went so far in basketball. And he helped us get big wins along the way, and now you know, assuming a role as an assistant coach is going to be big for us. Just guiding guys on the bench, in the locker room, along with Jin Han and Chris Fernandez are also Guam basketball veterans, former teammates of mine. So I think it's come full circle. We definitely have some experienced players, but we also are preparing the young guys for the future.
One thing that hasn't changed about Blas's game at all, the man can score. And his years of grinding at various levels now provide him with a deeper understanding of the game.
Patience, a lot more patient now. That's what I would say. I don't still got the same mentality the way I approach it, but definitely reading the game a lot more. You know, slowing down. Don't have the same athleticism, which I think helps me. You know, made me better. Made me slow down and actually read the game. So that's all. Like I said, I think the way I got better and the way I've changed my game is just being more patient, reading the game now. You know. Same approach though. Come with the same intensity, same everything. Just read the game more, be more patient. That's all.
So as our team boards the 3.5-hour flight up to Japan to link up with their teammates, we're bringing our best to do what they've worked for years to earn: a shot.
We're always keeping the bigger picture in mind, which is winning games. You know what I mean? And especially now, what we're playing for after we won our two gold medals back in 2015, 2019. We have a bigger opportunity to put Guam a lot more on the map in the Asia Cup. So never take it for granted, man.
Leave it all on the court in Tokyo. The stadium sold out. I think the atmosphere is going to be incredible, and we're just really looking forward to representing on a stage this big.
Way to work, Chris. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, man.
1, 2, 3, go!
KUAM Brewery was established with a simple mission: to deliver the island we call home with fresh craft beer, made with the cleanest and tastiest ingredients. From IPAs, stouts, sours, and everything in between. We are here with good beer to be a catalyst for creativity and community. This is your beer, Guam. Come home to the simple, fresh taste of the locally brewed beer. The KUAM Brewery. KUAM Brewery reminds you to drink good beer responsibly.
Oh, yeah. Hot honey pizza and wings from
Pizza Wahat.
Pizza Wahat.
Pizza Wahat. Hot honey pizza and wings. It's the first new flavor to make you say, Pizza Wahat?
The world's attention will be on Paris this summer with the games of the 33rd Olympiad, bringing together elite athletes from 206 nations. But before Team Guam books our tickets for a 2-week business trip in northern France, we've got a date in the Marshalls for the 10th Micronesian Games.
Yeah, the Micro Games is where it's a smaller contingent, right? Smaller group of countries. So I think it'll be a really good opportunity for any first-timers to participate in.
Sandra Lowe is point person for the contingent we're taking to Majuro to defend our medals in 9 exciting events. The venue's always been closer to our hearts and earns us significantly fewer frequent flyer miles, but it's a tournament where regional legends are born.
Volleyball, basketball, yes, swimming, tennis.
Oh,
We've all done well in these fields, yeah.
Guam is historically dominant in the Micro Games, leading the all-time count for gold and trailing only Palau in most overall medals won. We hosted our Seoul Micro Games back in 1994, and this June, Majuro welcomes the region after a 2-year delay due to COVID.
I think the challenge is just getting people there, right? Getting the leaves all approved, getting the flights booked.
Now this is our region, and we do have a sport unique to our corner of the world, the Micronesian All-Around, which includes tree climbing and coconut husking. Hey man, a medal's a medal.
Unfortunately, we don't have any contestants, but if any of the viewers there would like to try that, let us know. Contact GNOC.
It's been a busy time for Team Guam as we were up in Saipan for the Pacific Mini Games 2 years ago, then we're fresh off last November's Pacific Games, and now the Micro Games. And of course, this all gets us ready for the biggest stage of all, at the Olympics.
Oh, it is exciting. It's been a little bit challenging because things have come so bunched up together. But yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, we're glad it's finally happening. Hi, I'm Sandra Lowe, and I'll be the chef de mission for the Micronesian Games. Go Guam!
Steve Pangilinan got his first gig on the volleyball sideline in 1994, the last time Guam hosted the Micronesian Games. He's now head coach for the Team Guam men's program, which has one and only one thing on our mind heading to Majuro for this year's game.
We've always told whoever was on board at that time was this is about redemption, because we didn't even make it into the medal round last time.
Guam boasts a golden history in microgames volleyball, but after an uncharacteristically poor showing in 2018 in Yap, Coach Pangilinan wants to restore our glory days.
That's really the first part, is understanding the magnitude of what we're trying to do. This is we need to go in there and hopefully win the whole thing, right? That's the goal. But we know a lot of the teams have gotten stronger throughout the years. So we know it's not going to be easy.
The balance of power has obviously shifted. So who's the regional team to beat in 2024?
Palau is on my radar, because they 2 years ago they brought a team. It was a youth team to play in our summer tournament, right? Our Volley Fest. That team was super strong, and they were just kids. So it's like, these guys are playing a lot of volleyball out there. So I know for sure Palau is going to be strong. Palau was a silver medalist last year. Chuk is always strong.
Pangilinan also has a vision for getting Guam to the biggest sports stage of all, and says Olympic volleyball is a very achievable goal.
Actually, recently in our junior national programs, the boys have been a little bit taller. There's been a lot of 6-footers in the groups. So I think with enough time and with enough resources, we could develop a competitive team. I'm not saying a medaling team, but a team that can hang at that level. We're always thinking, our group in particular is thinking of, how do we grow? How do we get stronger? So I think doors are opening.
Still, while reclaiming gold at the Micro Games is this year's mission, he realizes that nothing is guaranteed. And that's what keeps him focused.
I got to keep our last performance in the front of my mind. So I'm going to be as humble as I can walking into those games. We know we can be beat. We're just going to go out and we're going to be as prepared as we can. We're on a good track. So we'll prepare as much as possible. Hopefully bring back some hardware this time around.
Part of the honor of hosting the Olympics is introducing new events to the pantheon of sports and exhibiting the world's best. With Paris welcoming the world a little more than 200 days from now, one of the new sports is breakdancing. No, really. And that's awesome.
Breakdancing is super old school, it's classic. And I think people nowadays don't realize that dance is a foundation for everything. I praise on it, I talk about it, I just confidently say that dance is a sport.
The battle format is simple but challenging. 16 international B-boys and B-girls battle for judges' points based on synchronizing their moves to a DJ's beats.
So I used to be in a club battling guys on the ground, trying to do a spin and hold a move or whatever, but that is real, that's strength.
But don't even think for a microsecond that because breaking isn't gymnastics or wrestling or the decathlon, that these aren't finely tuned athletes. Any dancer knows how much work they need to put in.
Breakdancing is a skill. It's an art. And one, safety is a big issue. You can't just say, okay, why don't you just lay on the side of your head and just hold that pose for 5 seconds, right? That won't happen. That person that's coming into the studio to teach the breakdancing class, one has to be skilled, has to know his stuff, and safety would be a big priority for us too.
This also lends to the mental challenge and constant adaptation, and as opposed to a regulation routine you've rehearsed and execute to perfection, breaking is all about improvising, with a groove and against your opponent.
We wouldn't call it choreo, but it would just kind of be like a freestyle. That's what we used to do back in the day, right? We used to freestyle and everything was just backyard. So we learned everything, I think, backyard. Here now, nowadays, everything is about stage presence and training.
This also creates new opportunities for dancers and coaches earning the honor of representing Guam and showcasing their skills as Olympians.
I just feel that dance is just a competitive sport and people need to see it in that arena. And now that we're taking it to another level with the Olympics, I think people are going to take it more seriously.
This would also be big for our island, being able to honor a former talent box breaking instructor that we lost far too soon to cancer, Noel Santos Jr.
He was one of the best break dancers, freestylers that I knew, and he gifted us and was teaching here at the studio for a bit. But just watching him creatively just think of some moves.
In the end, breaking lines up perfectly with the Olympic spirit. Today's breakers and old school OGs are absolutely competitors.
I mean, break dancing is like, it's a freestyle art, right? You don't know what your opponent's gonna come at you, right? So you creatively have to think of, what am I gonna come with to get him back, you know? And so it's not anything choreographed, because you don't know what your opponent's gonna be doing. So I think it's a lot of like mind, you know, creatively thinking of what can I come up with to kind of take it to another level.
So while 671 won't have a shoulder roll squad in Paris at this year's Summer Games, look out for us in 2028 in LA, because the Team Guam breaking crew is in training.
We'd love to take a team to the Olympics. Can you imagine? Guam had a team of break dancers representing the island into the Olympics. That's awesome.
Brian Dawkins, safety, aka Weapon X. Brian laughs at audibles, laughs. For there is nothing he does not anticipate. He is never caught off guard, because his guard is always up. His skills of perception are honed like talons. Brian sees all. He knows all. Dominates all. His defensive prowess is feared the world over. The all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5 with advanced safety and tech. Because even safeties could use a little more safety themselves. Search for your Hyundai Ioniq 5 today.
In the heart of time, friendships have blossomed and connections have grown. From the letters we wrote to the calls we made, we've laid the lines to weave our stories together. From the distant past to a brighter future, we are forging paths, bringing tomorrow's islands today.
Half a day, we're from Island Twisters. Thank you, Guam.
Easier when they start
The older
younger.
you get, the more you think about what you're actually doing.
After you take physics and that whole gravity thing kicks in, right?
That's it.
Is there any sport more Olympic than gymnastics? Mere names conjure memories of otherworldly heroics. The Magnificent Seven, the Furious Five, Mary Lou, Nastia, Nadia, Simone.
It's a full-time sport. It's 3 to 5 days a week for our advanced girls. Our beginners go 1 day a week, but they start off at the beginning level.
Guam has a heritage of producing champion gymnasts, but we've yet to send a squad to the Summer Games. So, how close are we to qualifying? According to those leading the charge for a sport only available on island for 2 decades, we're almost there.
The possibility is there. It probably is going to take us maybe another 1 or 2 Olympic cycles to do that. We need some more equipment. We need a 40 by 40 floor. We need a pit. And so we have some growing to do, but the Oceania Gymnastics Union is behind us, and we are, in with the FIG now. So we're on our way.
These athletes possess Herculean strength and the hearts of lions. On the bars, on the beam, out on the floor, and on the vault. Just look in the eyes of any gymnast and you'll witness a level of focus and fearlessness unmatched in any other sport. Theirs is an elite community.
It's really cool because as gymnasts, we do a lot of things that
not many people get to do like flip 6 feet in the air, swing on bars, so it's definitely very, very fun.
Our top gymnasts typically start aerobics and tumbling and developing core skills before they start elementary school. It's commitment and passion that never stops rewarding.
I like to come here with my friends to support me, but it was also really fun meeting all the new gymnasts and getting to train with them. It was also really exciting getting to train in a different gym, like in a different environment. All the apparatuses were definitely a lot different than the one we have here, so it was very fun to try them out.
Now, this is a team overall event, so while you may take to a particular apparatus individually, you always compete as a unit. And the dream of standing toe-to-toe with the world's best would be the ultimate achievement for our gymnasts and coaches.
It would be so exciting and extremely exciting for us to represent Guam, of course, in the Olympics.
Going to the Olympics is one of my biggest dreams right now, so I feel like I would really want to do it.
So we've got the talent, the ambition, the leadership, and the work ethic. So get the mat ready and have a healthy supply of chalk, because Guam's coming and we'll be flying high. Today's youngsters picking up the sport could be tomorrow's Olympians.
It just all crosses over. We have jiu-jitsu girls that come here and do also jiu-jitsu and gymnastics. We have soccer, volleyball, basketball. We have the gamut of sports here.
I like to say if your child has any propensity for gymnastics, get them in the gym, because gymnastics is the basis for all sport. It teaches strength, flexibility, discipline, and all kinds of things that you need for every other sport.
It's a great stepping stone, and it really makes them realize how intense and how difficult sometimes training is with gymnastics.
The World Aquatic Championships are being held in Doha, and our 4-person swim team is on a mission. They only know one speed: compete like they train.
You have to perform in practice, and it's proven fact. I've seen it before. I tell swimmers all the time, what you do in the water, you're going to do in the